House of Representatives passed a measure that seeks to halt President Donald Trump from taking further military action in Iran. The 215 to 28 vote was successful after 4 Republicans joined Democrats in a rare public show of disapproval of the war, which began in February. This is the 4th attempt by the House, which critics say lack congressional war powers, which critics say lack congressional approval.
Antelope Reef is a small teardrop-shaped island in the northwestern corner of the South China Sea and, until recently, almost entirely underwater. But this year it has undergone a dramatic transformation.
Adam Hamawi, a plastic surgeon, army veteran and conflict zone medical worker, has won a crowded Democratic primary for an open seat in the United States House of Representatives. The Egyptian-born doctor's victory puts him on track to represent New Jersey's 12th congressional district, a Democratic stronghold. He will face off with Republican Greg Mealy on November 3 in the midterm elections. The United States House of Representatives has passed a resolution to rein in President Donald Trump's powers to attack Iran without congressional authorization. 4 Republicans joined Democrats to pass the bill in a vote of 215 to 208 on Wednesday in Washington, D.C.
Jose Mourinho will return to manage Real Madrid if Florentino Perez wins the club's presidential election on Sunday. The sitting president has declared as he campaigns for another term at the helm of the La Liga club. Perez, facing renewable energy entrepreneur Enrique Riquelme in the club's first contested election in 20 years, delivered the campaign announcement on his social media channels with a short video featuring Mourinho simply saying, "Yes."
Lovable and Google announced an expanded multi-year collaboration on Wednesday. Lovable, the fast-growing Stockholm vibe coding startup, has long been a Google Cloud user. Under the new agreement, it will be a much bigger one. While the companies did not disclose the dollar figure, a person with knowledge of the deal tells TechCrunch it involves a 5-fold increase in Lovable's footprint on Google Cloud, including AI usage. As part of the deal, this individual tells us Lovable will gain expanded access to both Anthropic's Claude, the AI model widely used for coding tasks, and Google's own Gemini models.
Donald Trump has become the latest US president to find himself at odds with Benjamin Netanyahu after reportedly clashing with the Israeli Prime Minister over military action in Lebanon that has thrown Washington's Iran diplomacy into crisis. Tehran responded to Israel's strikes on Lebanon's by threatening to suspend talks to extricate US. Potential setback to Trump's efforts be hem from an unpopular war with Iran.
Security agencies from the Five Eyes alliance, which includes the United States and Britain, issued a warning on Wednesday about Chinese spies aggressively using online job platforms to recruit people with access to sensitive information. Safeguarding Our Secrets bulletin says China's military intelligence services were using a wide array of professional networking sites and online recruitment services to target those in government, military, or anyone who could access classified information.
A Democratic lawmaker in the United States has grilled top diplomat Marco Rubio on whether Israel has nuclear weapons, but the Secretary of State did not provide a clear answer. Most of the world assesses that they do. Rubio told Congressman Joaquin Castro at a hearing on Wednesday, though he refused to share Washington's own position on Israel's nuclear weapons. Loading the player, defense tech is red hot right now. Anduril and Mac Industries just doubled and quadrupled their valuations respectively, and the US government is proposing a 40% increase in defense budget. A wave of new startups is chasing those government contracts, but according to Ross Fabini, the venture investor wrote Anduril's first check, most of them will get lost in the valley of death, between prototype contract and real production deal.
Meta's attempt to pioneer a metaverse and make VR cool totally flopped, except for one shining diamond in the rough, Supernatural, a VR fitness game that made working out feel fun and accessible. Now, users can rejoice that Supernatural isn't shutting down after all. For Meta went through the hassle of fighting an 8-month antitrust battle so that it could acquire within the game studio that made Supernatural in 2023. The deal was reportedly worth around $400 million, plus however much it cost to fight and win an FTC lawsuit. Yet after all that effort, Meta laid off much of its VR team and announced that it would stop adding new content just a few years later.
Tehran, Iran is facing more energy constraints as its summer season begins, with the widespread use of air conditioning and other needs during hotter months contributing to an imbalance between supply and consumption. For decades, successive Iranian governments have kept utility bills well below supply costs for households and offices through a mix of implicit oil and gas subsidies, administered tariffs, state-controlled pricing, and sometimes direct financial support.
Heavy gunfire has broken out in central Mogadishu as Somalia's former Prime Minister Hassan Ali Khayre says he has been attacked by government forces before planned protests. An attack was launched against us by forces commanded by the president whose term has expired. Khayre said in a social media post on Wednesday, adding they had been preparing for a peaceful demonstration the following day.
Google Labs, the tech giant's team devoted to experimental product design, has launched a new AI-fueled app for iOS and Android that will quite literally animate your life. Behold, Dream Beans. Why is it called that? We'll get to that later.
Substack announced on Wednesday a new feature called Reply Rules, designed to give creators greater control over how their audiences are able to respond. With the feature, creators can establish specific guidelines for comments on their posts, in notes or in chat. These guidelines might include requests to eliminate AI slop or profanity, or something silly like only requiring replies in haiku form.
Pakistan Customs has foiled an attempt to import restricted cigarette tipping paper that was allegedly misdeclared as poster paper in reels at the Collectorate of Customs Appraisement, West Karachi. According to customs officials, the importer submitted documentation declaring the consignment as poster paper. However, during scrutiny, authorities became suspicious and initiated a detailed examination of the shipment.
Washington, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio told lawmakers on Wednesday that Washington's military campaign against Iran, codenamed Operation Epic Fury, had concluded, and that any subsequent American military action would be defensive in nature rather than part of an ongoing offensive operation. Rubio made the remarks during a House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing when members of Congress questioned the administration's assessment of the conflict and its aftermath. The Ebola outbreak raging in Central Africa had a big head start, the World Health Organization chief acknowledged Wednesday, but insisted efforts to rein in the deadly virus were making progress. The outbreak, which was declared on May 15 in the Northeastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, has so far been confirmed to have infected 359 people, including 61 who have died. In the latest edition of its State of Play, broadcast on Tuesday, PlayStation unveiled some intriguing new offerings, as well as expanded gameplay and release dates for games already on the radar. Some of the standouts include the reveal of God of War, Lofe, a spin-off featuring protagonist Kratos' wife Faye, and a blood-soaked demo of Marvel's Wolverine. Here's a list of titles that really piqued my interest, and feel free to tell us what you're excited for in the comments.
Oscar-nominated German director Wim Wenders has said he will block future access to his 1975 film Wrong Move after appeals from actress Nastassja Kinski, who was filmed topless when she was 13. Last month, Kinski told a German newspaper she had been asking Wenders to change the film for years. "That was my first film, he was my first director, and he didn't protect me," she told the Süddeutsche Zeitung.
Israeli strikes killed at least 9 people in southern Lebanon on Wednesday, authorities said, as the Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah said it fired rockets into northern Israel. Lebanon's health ministry said the dead included 2 paramedics whose ambulance was hit in a strike in the southern shower area. A car was also struck just south of Beirut.
Previous World Cup appearances won Best Performance, Group Stage 2022, First Appearance 2022, Qatar top goal scorer, Mohamed Muntari won, Most appearances, Abdelkarim Hassan, Boualem Kouki, Akram Afif, 3 each. Player to watch, Almoez Ali FIFA World Ranking, 55 4 years on from their FIFA World Cup debut on home soil, Qatar are gearing up for a new dream.
Benjamin Netanyahu has played down reports of a rift with Donald Trump after the United States president confirmed that he recently called the Israeli Prime Minister Thing Crazy. Asked during an interview with CNBC on Wednesday, Netanyahu rejected the idea his ties with Trump have shifted. No, this has been a great relationship because he's been the greatest friend that Israel has ever had in the White House. The administration of US President Donald Trump has proposed new tariffs of up to 12.5% on imports from 60 economies after determining they had failed to curb trade in goods made with forced labor, an assertion that was rejected by US trading partners. The proposal from the Office of the United States Trade Representative, USTR, issued late on Tuesday, comes from a Section 301 unfair trade practices investigation designed to help rebuild US President Donald Trump's emergency tariffs, struck down by a US Supreme Court decision in February.
Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has decried newly proposed United States tariffs, saying he could not accept the treatment his country had received. The rebuke on Wednesday came a day after the administration of US President Donald Trump announced a 25% tariff on certain Brazilian imports, appearing to roll back an emerging détente between the two countries.
Israel has continued to wage fierce attacks across Lebanon, including near the capital, Beirut, killing 9 people and injuring others, even as US-mediated talks between Israeli and Lebanese officials progress in Washington. The Israeli attacks on Wednesday struck at least 10 vehicles, in one case directly targeting an ambulance, according to Lebanon's Ministry of Public Health, and in another occurring just several kilometers south of Beirut, the country's state media reported.